Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
So, hopefully we're going to share some information about growing lunch sales with you guys. If you were here for something else, you're in the wrong room. If everybody, they always ask us to ask you guys to make sure you silence your phones. Especially it helps us because it always, when somebody's phone goes off in the middle of us talking, we lose our train of thought. That's the thing that drives us nuts. We've been up all day. We've been in Las Vegas for like 5 days, and we're just hanging on by a thread. So somebody's cell phone goes off. We're like, I don't even know where I was at. So we're going to talk about lunch sales, and I want to move my mic down a little bit. I'm going to talk about who we are first, just give you a little bit of background on ourselves. My name's Michael Shepard. I'm a recovering pizzeria owner. As I always like to tell everybody, you're never quite not a pizzeria owner. You're always in that recovery phase. 25, I think it's like 26 or 27 years in the business now. I worked for the chains through high school and college, and then opened my own. 3 pizzerias in Ohio. I had a pizzeria in a town of, it's like 550 people. I had a pizzeria in a town of about 9,000 and one in a town of about 14,000. And 2 of them were $1 million stores. And the other one in the town of 550, it used to be about 600, now it's 550. We still did almost $300,000 a year out of that little tiny place with $300 a month rent. So 4-time world champion, 3-time U.S. champion, and a founding member of the World Pizza Champions. Used to do acrobatic dough tossing for fun. Now I'm too old. So got my certification by the Italian School of Pizza in Neapolitan Classic Italian. What I mainly do now is I have a business called perfectingpizza.com. This is my business partner, Siler. It's a website that's based around just providing lots of resources for pizza operators. So you guys don't have to reinvent the wheel. You need an employee handbook. Well, we've got a template for that. You can download it. Don't have to reinvent the wheel. Videos on how to do things, just lots of resources. We're putting everything that we've done over the years into this nice website to share with people. And then, like I said, I'm a recovering pizzeria owner, so I'm actually doing mobile wood-fired now. So actually getting ready to open that up with my family, just as kind of a side hobby. So that's a little bit about me, my background. We did lunch at all of my places and did a lot of lunch sales. So I want to share all the things that worked for me. I'll let Siler tell you a little bit about himself.
So, Siler Chapman, I'm a 3-time world pizza champion, and I am a recovering pizza owner as well. I started my first restaurant at 18 years old, grew it to 3 locations in the Carolinas, and being 18 and young and dumb and didn't really know a lot, I had to go figure it out from scratch. And so when it comes to lunch sales, that was a really big, important piece to our business to take it over to over $1 million stores. So I did also as well get my certification at the Italian School of Pizza for Neapolitan and Classic Italian. I am the vice president of Perfecting Pizza, and I started up a wood-fired mobile unit as well called King of Fire, and we're just now getting going with that. Wanted to, it's more of trying to learn how to stay relevant in today's market with wood-fired and the trends that are going on. So me and Michael both kind of thought that was a good thing for us to do as well and have some fun doing it because we miss cooking. You can see me there at Atlantic City at the Caputo Cup. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay. And myself too, I started when I was 24. So he was 18, I was 24. Back in the 90s for me, there wasn't the internet. There wasn't all these things you could go learn. It was a lot harder to learn about the pizza business. So a lot of what works for me, a lot of what worked for Siler was self-taught. We were trial and error. What works, what doesn't work. Made a lot of mistakes. Did a lot of things work really well. So first question I always ask, want everybody to ask yourself, is lunch even viable where you're at? We're talking about how to build lunch sales. You might be in an area where you can't build lunch sales. May not be possible. So you got to make sure it's even possible before you try growing those lunch sales. So some negative factors that would kind of indicate that maybe lunch isn't for you. Are you a bedroom community where there's really no businesses? Everybody gets up, goes to work, and the entire area where you're at, there's nobody there. So if there's nobody to eat lunch, well then it's going to be really hard to grow lunch sales. Low income areas too, so it can be hard to build lunch sales as well. If you have a lack of business, lack of industry, lack of retail, kind of what I just mentioned, you need all of those things. Offices, you need lots of people for good lunch sales. You need a lot of people. Some positives that say, will help you, help you decide, yes, I probably should be open for lunch. You have a lot of schools around you, okay? Industry, factories. Factories are a big, big way to build your lunch sales. Businesses, medical is big, hospitals, medical parks. And then if you're in an area that has a lot of foot traffic. Where I was at, each one of my locations was different. I was in one of those bedroom communities. My little shop that only had 500-600 people in that town. Everybody went to work, and there was nobody left. All right. But when we first opened, the railroad was getting rebuilt. So we had all of Conrail was in there rebuilding the railroad every single day. So we opened for lunch in this little town just for the railroad for about 6 months, and we had $500, $600 a day lunches in this little tiny town. Now, when they went away, our lunches went to like $10 a day. So we got rid of lunches except on Friday and Saturday. And I'll tell you why we kept that in a second. But, we didn't have that. Now, in the other two locations, we had everything else. We had schools, we had industry, we had businesses, we had hospitals, we had lots of foot traffic. So our lunches were as big as we wanted to make them. If we put effort into it, we could do $1,000 a day easy in lunch. If we didn't put any effort into it, well, maybe we only did $150 a day in lunch. So anything to add to that?
No, that's perfect.
Okay. So ask yourself too, is it even worth it to do lunches on top of is it viable? Sometimes lunches, because, people don't always, think about, pizza and lunch going together. So sometimes it's just a break even. So, is it worth it? If you're just breaking even, do you want to have, all of that staff? You got more staff you have to keep on, more taxes, more people to manage, more headaches, more problems. There's more hours you have to cover. So when somebody doesn't show up, you got to get somebody to cover that. Unpredictable sales, lunches are always unpredictable. One day, like I mentioned, you might have $150 a day. The next day you might have $1,000. No matter how good your marketing, no matter how good you're doing, it might be $100 one day and $1,000 the next, and it's just so unpredictable. And then it's a high pressure, short time frame. People when they want to eat lunch, they got this really small window. So when you're delivering to somebody, it better be there in 30 minutes or less. If they want it at 11 o'clock, if you get there at 11:05, that's unacceptable. You need it there when they want it. So they say, I need this order at my business at noon. You better be there at 12:55. If you're not there at 12:55, it's not going to work. They have a short time period. People don't have a lot of time for lunch, so you've got to be on your game. So it's a lot of high pressure at lunchtime. Positives of adding lunch, it's kind of, increased sales, increased profit, of course. It may not be as good of profit as dinner time. May look at it and go, you know what, I'm only making at the end of the day maybe an extra couple $100 a week in profit for lunch. Is it worth it? Well, you've got increased exposure. I heard it a lot of times. People didn't even know I existed because they didn't live anywhere near where I was. But when I opened up for lunch, somebody said, hey, let's go check out 600 and get lunch there. It's the name of my one pizzeria. And they come in and eat at lunch, and they're like, I had no idea you guys were here. This is awesome. I'm bringing my family back this weekend. So it's increased exposure for lunch. And I got expanded staff on there as a positive. Usually that's not a positive. With the more people, the more problems. But when you think about it, for me, it was a lot of situations where I needed, think about if you're not open for lunch, you have basically 7 shifts. If you're open 7 days a week, 4 to close, that's like 7 shifts for a manager. All right, so you hire a manager, well, that's 5 shifts. Now you've got 2 more shifts you got to cover. All right, so you got 3. That other guy is going to need 3 more shifts to make a week. So where are you going to fit them in? So if you open for lunch, now you can it allows you to expand your management team. So we opened for lunch. That was now 14 shifts through the week. Open 7 days a week. And then evening and lunch was 14 shifts. It allowed us to build a management team of 3 managers. So now it really made it easy for me to step out of the business and focus on the business instead of working in the business because I could develop a full management team. And then being able to pay for your prep work. So you look at it, you're like, man, we're just barely breaking even, or maybe we're actually losing money at the end of the week for lunch. So you're like, well, is it even worth it? Well, for like me, if you don't have lunch, you're bringing your guys in a couple hours before you open to make dough, make sauce, they're slicing vegetables, they're prepping. Well, if you have a slow lunch, well, still you can use that time to offset the labor of the prep work because, they're making dough, they go make a pizza or two. They make some more dough, make a pizza or two, and it helps pay for it. So just some, to help some ideas to help you figure out if it's even worth it. You're throwing that thing out and deciding, it's pros and cons. Okay.
Yep.
So 4 critical steps we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about identifying your lunch customer, so you know who to go after. 2, make a plan, and that actually should be step 1 and step 5. And then how do you market to that lunch customer you identified in number 1? And then how do you execute and deliver that? So, identifying your lunch customer. Were you going to talk about that?
Yeah,
okay.
I was. So identifying your lunch customer is very, very important. One of the things I did when I first opened up my restaurant, I went outside of it and I just watched the cars going up and down the road. And that's important because I'm looking, hey, do I see suits going up and down the road? Do I see construction guys going up and down the road? Who am I seeing? Once I know that person, then I know how to execute and go figure out how to get my food in front of them. So who is available to eat at lunch? How long of a lunch break do they have? Do they have 30 minutes? Are you in an area where there are blue collars? They have to eat on the go. They got to get back to work. Or white collars typically have an hour lunch break. So they want to come in and sit down. So those are the 2 that I'm really looking for. And then you do have the pink collars, which is all of us the working restaurant guys and the service industry. Do they have time to come to you? Is a huge thing. That determines how fast you need or what style. Are you going to serve slices, set up a buffet? What are you doing? And how they can eat fast and go. Think about, will they have the time to actually sit in and eat with you? These are all little factors, and it seems so easy when we do it every day, but you really have to narrow this down and target the right person. Will you need to deliver to them? Are they, 2-3 miles away where there's a, 300-400 person business and they only eat at one certain time, so they need food quick, and you might need to take it to them because they don't have time to come get it. Will you need to cater? That is one of the easiest things that we're going to talk about today is perfecting the catering piece. And if you do figure that you need to cater because of all the different businesses in your area, then you got to perfect that. So do you have anything you want to add on that one?
No, I think you got it.
Okay. So if we go into make a plan, did anybody in here not risk everything they had to open up a restaurant? I'm just asking them. Is that fair to say that we pretty much risked everything we're doing to open our restaurants every day? I know I did. I put everything that my family had in money to open up my first restaurant, so I had no room to fail. So intentions and hopes are all garbage without a plan, just like your lunch sales. So I took this and really decided, hey, I know I can get another 10 grand a week in sales by perfecting lunches, just alone. And you got to dedicate certain days of the week. Are you going to market Monday through Friday for lunches, 2 hours a day? Are you going to spend 4 hours a day marketing? What is it? You got to have that written down and detailed out.
Yeah, for me, I dedicated every single Monday. Monday was my marketing day. 8 hours, Monday. That's what it was. That was working on my marketing plan. That was executing the things that we're going to talk about every single week. Monday was marketing day, and it was the planning day. Planning for the future, planning for next week, planning for what I need to do coming up, and building the next, the whole year, all of that stuff. That was every single week, 8 hours, Monday. I built it into the way I built my business.
Yeah. And for me, it was Monday through Friday. I was a Monday through Friday And then in the summer times, it was Saturday too. And I'll go into that later. But so when you're planning your strategy, you're going to actually start to see where you can build this out a whole year in advance. And that's important. You need to know where you're going in 12 months, 18 months. You need to know exactly. Will you please tell them I said, hey, please? No, I'm just kidding. But plan, once you start planning ahead, you'll know where you're going. And also revisit what you did this past year. And you're going to find things in the calendar that you're going to miss. And you want to be able to put that in for next year. So always have good planning for a year.
Yeah, and to add on to why you do it an entire year in advance, because it sneaks up on you. You know, like you want to, a good opportunity. You mentioned Black Friday. We were talking the other day. Black Friday, I focused a lot on Christmas and Thanksgiving, those holidays where if you're not ready to start marketing to those, trying to capture the big like parties, because we got a lot of lunchtime parties at professional places, the bank, attorney's office. Where they've got a budget for this, and hey, Christmas is coming. We're buying lunch for everybody this week. And if I wasn't prepared, 2 months before Christmas and had a plan and had it marked on my calendar, so back in October, I've got a reminder in my calendar to start building out all of the marketing materials and start launching that, well in advance to get in front of all these guys before they make those decisions. I'm going to lose that window. And like Black Friday is another one where is a great opportunity for building lunches.
Yeah, so let's take Black Friday for an example. Everybody in the big box stores, Targets, your Best Buys, everybody that has a big box has a budget to feed their staff, period, ... What is the budget? It's your job to figure that out. And with that being said, I knew that 4 to 5 weeks ahead of time, all the chains were going and hitting them. Every style food out there, chains were going to hitting them. Oh, here's our deals. Here's our deals. Well, they've already signed the deal with me 2 months prior to that, because I'm going after them 3 months ahead of advance where nobody else is doing it. They're not even thinking about it, the managers, and I'm already saying, hey, let me take this off of you. Your budget last year was $350. Let's just do the same thing again and let's get it wrapped up. And I take it off your place. Here's the contract. Boom, we're done. We're on the road. So then when everybody else brings their stuff by, yeah, we've already signed up. And the reason I did that is because the first year I did it 2 weeks ahead of Black Friday. And guess what? They've already signed all their deals. And I was like, oh, so I'm going back to my year calendar. Next year, I'm going to do it at 3 months in advance and take it off of everybody. And during that 12 months, I'm already shopping at some of these stores. I'm going in, high-fiving them, having a good time, joking around. They know my face now. Everybody in the town will know your face. So that's one big nugget right there, is doing it ahead of everybody else. But if I didn't plan that, I would have forgot. If I didn't put it on the calendar, I would have totally forgot about that.
Yeah, timing's super important, not just with lunch. I mean, and we're kind of maybe going a little sideways, but timing. An example of getting your timing right is football in our town was really big. High school football was huge. So, there'd be 1 million cars at the school and all the streets surrounding the school where the stadium was. So, at about the first quarter, second quarter, all the chains were there sliding, coupons on all the cars. The Chinese restaurant was putting them on all the cars. We waited till fourth quarter because we would hit the cars and we'd take off our competitors and then we would put ours on every single time. We'd pull them off, we'd put them on. And no, they never knew any different. And they were just wondering why they weren't busy. And we were getting hammered after the game, $1,000 worth of sales attributed to those flyers we put on the cars. So timing is super important on everything.
We were hungry back in the day.
Yeah.
You do what you had to do.
Yeah.
Legally.
Yeah.
So a part of this plan is actually, and everybody should understand this very well, you got to meet with your staff. Not once a month, not twice a month, every single day. And this is a whole different topic, but you need to have the 5-minute shift change talk. And then when that person, if you're staggering your staff from 5 to 6 and another person comes in at 6, well, that 5 o'clock key employee needs to relate that same message at 6 o'clock and that person sign off on it somehow, some way, so that all communication is done. They need to know that day, hey, we went over to this area and marketed like there's no tomorrow. We told the people that if they called today, they would get this deal. It's all communication, and that's very big with meeting with your staff. You want to add on that?
No, that's fine.
Okay. And then training your staff. How we're going to deep dive this a little bit, but when you're getting crazy busy, rushes start to come in because you are doing some marketing, you're lasered focused on certain things, how do you train your staff to handle it? And if something does go sideways, how do they handle that situation? And how many people, with a show of hands, give me 5,000 more in sales this week? Will you raise hands? All right. Here's the deal. It's not going to happen. Just not going to happen. You have to, let me ask this, and then I'm going to prove a point on this. Raise your hands if you plan on staying open for the next 2 years. Will you raise your hands? Okay. If you do the same thing when you leave this expo that you did this past year, you're going to be in the same spot. So focus. You already know you're going to be in business for 2 years. So go get the work done that we're putting up here and see where you're going to be in 2 years. Are you okay if you're going to be the same? Or do you want to have 10 grand a week and more in sales just by changing your lunch strategy? Okay? You're already going to be in business 2 years. So don't shortchange what we're telling you and saying, it just didn't work. Well, because you didn't put the time in. Okay? You didn't evaluate your situation and change your mindset for the long term. It's all about long-term plays here. Nothing is instant gratification. If that was the case, we'd all be rich from the rich schemes that they got out there, okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. Everybody agree? So in 2 years, you can come back to me and say, no, it didn't work, or yes, it did. But until then, I want to see you put the work in on this stuff.
Yeah, it's a year, 18 months investment to get your lunch sales to where you want them to be, minimum. 12 to 18 months.
And you'll see some bumps, but the harder you go after it, it's gonna come faster. But it's how much you want to put in your time here. And measure. Everything you measure. How many people do coupons with a raise of hands? Does anybody do coupons? Okay. Do y'all put little codes on your coupons so you know where it comes from? I'll give you an example. 001 dash 200. 200 means $2 off, okay? The 001 means it came from a door hanger. If I had 002, it means it comes from a box topper. Or 003 would be the local magazine that I did an article in. Always, if you're putting coupons out there, mark them somehow, some way to know where they're coming from. Once a month, you can have your employee sit down, take them all in, put them in a spreadsheet for you. So now you know where you're at. But we did it weekly. I wanted to know every week what I was doing because I was so in a hurry to get my lunches, max them out. So with that being said, you got to track everything that you're doing here because some things might not work in your area. Some are going to work better than the others. The ones that are working better than others, you go focus on that and 10 times your effort in that side of that. Don't worry about the dead weight. Go focus on the stuff that is working in your town because everybody is totally different. So let's talk about market to your lunch customers.
Yeah. So these are the things we're going to talk about, getting down to why you guys are probably really here. You want to hear how do you build your lunch sales. We wanted to lay down that foundation before we start getting onto this stuff. So we're going to talk about doing business visits, free lunches. And we're going to talk about networking, guerrilla marketing, lightning lunches, slices, catering, and doing a meeting/party room. Okay, so starting with the first one, business visits, free lunches. What we're going to talk about is it's basically you just need to give away a lot of free lunch. You need to be giving away a lot of free food. Okay, and this is the cornerstone. If you go to a lot of chains, especially the sandwich shops, there's the Subways, the Jersey Mike's, the Jimmy John's, got all of those guys, and a lot of pizza chains too. The cornerstone of their marketing is giving away free food. And they know, and we were just speaking to one of the franchises not too long ago, and he was telling us, They know that it's an 18-month investment to build their lunch sales, and it's 18 months of giving away free lunches every single day of the year. And so what you need to do, I mean, right there, take the time to personally visit all of the businesses around your area. So take a map, and literally take a map, and then say, all right, this is my trading area. This is where my customers are. And you draw a circle, draw a square, triangle, polygon, whatever you want to do. This is where all my customers are. Okay? And then you identify every business that's in there. Okay? You say, all right, and you build a list. Okay? Let me see. Do I actually
Can I
have
add
steps?
something on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I know everybody's eyes, I saw them, they all cringed when you said a bunch of free stuff, okay? Here's the deal. Do you have a marketing budget? Is it $2,000 a month? Is it $1,500 a month? Do you understand where I'm going with this? Don't go spend that in advertising money or ads or all this stuff. Take your food cost out of it. So if I know I'm giving away 100 pizzas this week and my food cost is, let's just say $3.50, well, there's $350 and these come out of the marketing budget. So do not be scared to give away free food. You have a budget. You already executed this amount of money to the side here. Take it from that pot. Don't steal from your own food cost and then see your food costs go all of a sudden from 25 to 28, 30%. Pay for the food out of your marketing budget. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you've got people that are, and they've got their, we're all creatures of habit. So you got these, you say you want to get in the hospital, there's 2,000 people that work at the hospital and you want to start selling them pizza at lunchtime. Well, they already got their favorite places they order from. All right. And you're like sending them coupons. You're popping up on Instagram, Facebook. You're doing all these things to get in front of them. And they're just like, you know what? I've got my favorite places. But when you walk in and you say you got like a big armload of free pizzas, or you've got, a gift certificate, now that you're going to get your food in their mouth. That's what you got to do. You've got to get your food in their mouth, and sometimes you got to shove it in their mouth.
That's right.
And because a coupon and Facebook and social media, I mean, it's just, man, we're getting beat up with that stuff over and over and over. We're numb to it. Advertising, we're getting super numb to it. But if you walk in and you say, hey, here's a free pizza, you think they're going to throw it in the trash?
No.
You're not going to throw it in the trash. They're going to eat it. And then if it's good, well, actually, you got to be careful, because if your pizza's bad, it's going to be bad for you, because they're going to be like, man, that pizza's horrible. I'm not ordering any of that. But and I'll just lay out what we did. We build, let's say, for example, we had 365 businesses, or let's say we have 365 times 2. I don't want to do that math in my head. But so we would go and we'd make sure we visited every single business personally, or a manager would do it. 2 businesses every single day, because I wanted to hit every single business at least once a year. And we'd go and I'd walk in, I'd introduce myself. Hi, I'm Michael. I own 600. Love to have you guys come try our lunch. Would you guys have any lunch plans for today? And if they already had lunch plans, I would give them a $20 letter or gift card or gift certificate, preferably a letter that explains who I am and what our business is. All right. And I'd offer to take their order right on the spot too. Here's a $20 gift card, or I can take your order. Or let's make arrangements. I want to get you guys food. What do you want? What do you want? Do you want it tomorrow? Do you want it today? Whatever worked for them. I didn't want to take no for an answer. But if they didn't want to commit to anything, here's $20, here's $30, here's $50, whatever I thought was appropriate, gave it to them and I left. Made sure they had plenty of, they had a menu, they had magnets to stick on their refrigerator or filing cabinet or whatever, coupons. Maybe it was a shirt, maybe it was a hat. But I would continue doing that until I've hit every single business. And then I would do it again. And then I would do it again. And I would do it again. I would do it again over and over. This was part of everyday life. Mm-hmm. This is what we did. All right. And then the lunches kept going up. And then they kept going up. And they kept going up. Everybody knew who I was. Everybody knew who my managers were. They were happy to see us. And we just kept doing it. We didn't give up. We never stopped. We said, well, we've done it. We've offered free lunch to everybody. We're all done. Our lunches aren't where we want them to be. Poor me. No, we just kept doing it over and over and over again. It's a year to 18-month commitment. Networking. Siler, you like to talk, so.
Yeah.
I'm the reverse. I don't like networking.
Yeah, so it was funny when I started, my mom came on board, I was 18, and she said she quit her job and I said, oh, no, we got to call Michael, not this Michael, but we got to call this Michael guy back, your boss, and get your job back right now, because if this fails, the money you make will pay the rent until we get out of this. And she said, that's why I quit, because I know you don't know anything about taxes, payroll taxes, any of this stuff. I was like, what do you mean? You make pizza, you put money in the bank, and you spend it. She said, that's why I'm coming to be your partner. So before this, it was really funny. I was very shy. If y'all had known me back then in high school, I was very shy. But now she pushed me to the front and said, I need you to go out in the town and everybody needs to know who Siler Chapman is. And she pushed me out the door. Literally, don't come back until you talk to 15 people, 20 people. I didn't care. And you got to write their names down and get me business cards. So it put me out of my comfort zone to go to just go to meetings, go to one of the big ones that everybody has in every city somewhere is BNI, which is Business Networking International.
Is anybody a part of BNI, Business Networking? Okay.
Okay, we got one. How do you like it?
Good.
Thumbs up. All right. I've got a buddy of mine, he sells floors, and this guy has built all his business only 100% through referrals off of BNI. So what do you do when you go to a BNI meeting? You can't have two restaurants in there at once. It's only one restaurant. It's one realtor. It's one floor guy, etc. And what you do is you just sit there and talk about what's going on in the community once a week and how things are going. Does anybody have referrals that you could send us, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's great because these are leaders in the community. And BNI, by the way, you don't have to just be in one group. You can be in 10 different groups. So you can always go to different groups each and every week, spend an hour hanging out with leaders in the area. And once they get to know who you are, you feed them one time. And all of a sudden, everybody's going to start referring you because that's the name of the game with BNI. Everybody's on a referral system, and everybody's okay with the referral. Chamber of Commerce, that's huge. When they do their meetings, the little city has something going on. You're the first one to know about it. You get to hear about everything that's going on. Good piece that we loved about Chamber of Commerce, if someone was hurting in the city or someone's house burnt down, guess who was the first one there? We were. Feeding whoever it was, helping the families, trying to get them food, whatever it took. Big fires that destroy homes, we'd feed the fire department because these people's lives were changed forever. Now, we didn't do it for the press, but the press came with it behind it. Give you an example, a good guy in my in our area, someone vandalized and ran over the telephone pole at the local, town, whatever it is, the little city hall, and vandalized everything. Well, the city at the time, it's a little city where I'm at, and they don't have the funds to fix the pole immediately. So the guy at the pizza place said, fine, here's the check. He fixed the pole. Well, guess what? About 5 news channels in Charlotte reached onto this and took it and ran with it. Now the guy, his sales went up 22% the following week just by writing a little $350 check to fix a pole. So it's the little things, and he heard that through the Chamber of Commerce. So just always be a part of your community there.
Let me add on to the Chamber of Commerce. You know, I was always really hesitant over the years to write that check to the Chamber of Commerce for like $500 a year or whatever it was to be a member. It was expensive. You know, I had I was in 2 different counties, so I had to join 2 different chambers of commerce. It was like $1,000 a year. And I kept, always, this is way back in the day when we used to fax out. Anybody used to fax your specials to people? Does anybody still fax specials? No, okay. But
a younger crowd.
Yeah, I'm showing my age. But we'd fax it. We had what was it called? What was that program called?
It was eFax.
No, it wasn't eFax. WinFax.
Yeah.
WinFax. And I had in my office, I had it set up and talk about planning. I had all of my weekly specials already planned. I had it set into the computer in the program WinFax, and it would fax my lunch specials to everybody at 7 a.m. every single day. And the Chamber of Commerce president finally came over and said, you know what, you keep sending us your special every day. She goes, it's our policy that we don't buy lunch from anybody that is not a member. If you join, we all love your food. We'll order lunches all the time from you. So I wrote that check, and boom, the next day it was lunch. $100, $50, $100. It was just every single week. My sales went up hundreds of dollars every single week because now I got in with the Chamber of Commerce and I became friends with everybody there. I go over and sit and talk to them. Hey, how's it going? What's going on? I let them know, and they would always push people to us. The other Chamber of Commerce, we did the same thing. I mean, I'm not big to one just network. I hate going to these networking things. I hated joining them. But this is for my business. I have to do it. So I'd go in and I would just hang out with the president, talk once a week. We'd talk about politics and the things in the community that were aggravating us. And then the next thing I knew, the Chamber of Commerce said, hey, we're putting together this tour bus that will be coming to our county and be bringing in elderly people for day trips that live in these assisted living places. They're going to visit the caverns. They're going to go to the castles. We had some castles in our county. They're going to go eat lunch and do some pottery classes and things like that. We want you to provide the lunch. They're going to be visiting an event center, and we want you to bring in the lunch. So I was the sole provider of the lunch for that, and it was like $1,000, like once every 2 or 3 weeks, I would bring in the lunch for it. And the Chamber of Commerce would not do that for anybody if you weren't. They wouldn't have done that unless you were a member. And so that $1,000 check I wrote, it ended up being tens of thousands of dollars at the end of the year. Now, you get into larger cities, it's a little harder because there, now the Chamber of Commerce, instead of having maybe a dozen or 20 pizza places as members, you might have 100 pizzerias as a member. So you got to get in front of these guys, which will be some of the next few things.
Yeah, for sure. And let's talk volunteering and charity work. I had a soft spot for cancer kids. And so we had this group, and it was super underfunded, called Camp Care. Cancer ain't really the end. And that was the care part. And I decided, I was like, hey, they're cooking, or they're feeding all these kids. And yes, it's a part of their little plan that they're doing at the camp for the week, but these kids get to go for free. And I said, hey, y'all are never feeding them pizza. Let me donate the pizza, come in, do a little dough show for them, and let the kids have some fun at this camp. And it was a 2-hour drive for me to go here. But the 100 kids that went to camp all were in the Charlotte area. And just because I donated a couple hundred pizzas, turned out to be everybody's talking about me giving back to this little charity. And I would also do fundraisers. So, hey guys, all these parents have work. So we would say, hey, your work order lunch, we'll give 10% back to the charity. So now everybody's promoting us through the week, and that just kept our lunch sales growing by doing big orders like that. You got anything on volunteering?
No, like the next three things, actually just bring them all up there. Like all of those things there, the next one too.
Okay.
So just kind of wrap all these in one thing. The whole point of all of this is you've got to get in front. Every single business leader, every single charity group, every single Kiwanis Club, everybody that sits on any board, the Rotary Club, everybody that's anybody, the bank president, it's anybody who's anybody in your community. All the movers and shakers need to know you personally. You need to, when they see you on the street, they need to know exactly who you are, and they need to know about your business. You've got to get in front of them, because these are the people that are going to bring you the business at lunchtime. The businesses are going to be one of the biggest driving factors for your lunchtime. You're going to get, of course, you're going to have, lots of just regular Joes that come in for lunch. But the businesses is where it's the low-hanging fruit. And so you want everybody to know who you are. If the Chamber of Commerce president and the local bank president and everybody that sits on any board, if they don't know who you are, here's all the different ways you get in front of them so they know who you are. Because these guys buy food at lunchtime.
That's right.
So this is where, because businesses spend money. So,
is anybody in here shy to go say hey to somebody? I just want to know, raise hand. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. They can't understand your South Carolina accent.
Thank you.
No.
So, but if you're nervous to go shake hands with somebody, you're giving them something for free. Everybody gets happy when they get free food. Think of it like that, a free slice. I didn't say a free 82-inch pizza. I said a free slice. So think of it like that. You're trying to make a friend by breaking bread with them. So that's always how I had to put it in my mind when I was real shy and trying to shake somebody's hand. let's jump over to Gorilla. Guerrilla Tactics. You already heard from Michael, man. He'd just take people's stuff and throw it away and put his flyers on people's cars. That is what the true meaning of Guerrilla Tactics are. Can we talk about the dumpster?
The dumpster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm proud of that. I mean, this doesn't have anything to do. This doesn't have anything to do with lunch. But back in the '90s, we didn't have POSs back then. Really, I mean, there were some. When I got started, nobody was using a POS. They were writing handwritten tickets. That's right. Anybody ever use the door slips? Anybody use a door slip code?
Yeah, we got one.
It's basically it's like a 4-part carbon thing, and then it's these little strips. So you write the name and address, and then on the top sheet, and it pushes through to the sheets underneath of it, and then you tear that off, you spray it, and you stick it on the front of a box, and now you peel one of them off, and it hangs on the make line ticket hanger, and the other one stays on the box, and then the driver tears it off, and they would hang it on a hook, and then the box had one on it. So that sheet at the end of the night, or all of the driver ones, would end up in the dumpster at every pizzeria in town. So I'd pull up, when I first getting started, pull up in my car.
1, 2 in the morning.
Yeah, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I was in the dumpster. All right, I'd pull every one of the trash bags out of the dumpster, I'd throw in my truck, and I'd drive off. I'd go home, I'd pull out every door slip, every handwritten ticket, and I would take the trash and I'd go back and put it back in their dumpster because I didn't want their trash. I wanted those tickets. And then every single address, I sent them a gift card or sent them a gift certificate for a free pizza. Every single one.
That's called Guerrilla 101.
And we kept doing it over and over until police chased us one night because and they passed an order that made it illegal to mess through commercial dumpsters. So
then he bought the dumpster company so he could take the trash away. So, no, I'm just kidding.
No, but you got it. When it comes to guerrilla tactics, I mean, that's the thing. You've got to think way outside the box. And let me talk about the first one, the driver door hanging. We would sometimes lunches are slow. So driver goes out, there's no other deliveries waiting. So you send the driver out and you also have a big stack of door hangers. And you're all right, so go take this delivery and I want you to hit that entire street. And then, or stay out until I send, back in the old days, we gave the drivers pagers, until I send you a text now, or I call you, stay out and door hang. And then when I tell you got a delivery, come back and get it, and you just keep doing it. You take advantage of every single moment.
Yep.
So,
and that's what you do with your marketing budget. Okay, you need an extra driver, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, not Monday, Tuesday. But what if, because you are trying, you do get that one random day everybody calls you on Tuesday and wants a delivery all at one time at 11:30, and then you get a bunch of orders at 12 o'clock. Well, you need to have that extra driver. Well, how do you pay for them if you don't have the labor dollars? Well, you take it out of that marketing budget, okay, and pay it. It's just shuffling money, but it's already out there. And yes, I want you to write your question down because I would love to come back to you. Or do you want me to?
No, we got.
Yeah, let me. I'm gonna bring it back to you.
Yeah, we'll come back.
Okay.
We got 17 minutes left.
Okay. And then, so feeding construction sites. This was a big thing for me. I would always take someone with me, and we would go to a construction site and pass out free pizzas. If it wasn't free pizzas, we were passing out free coupons to come by our store. And here's the fun part. During the rainy seasons that we're on right now, construction guys do not want to come to your restaurant, period, ... And why is that? Because they're muddy as you know what. And when they're muddy, they feel bad of coming in and tracking in. So guess what Siler did? I was hungry. We had rent to pay. We put this big banner on the side of our building that said, "Muddy Feet Welcome." My waitresses hated me because at 2 o'clock, we were that thick in mud everywhere. And I mean that. We even had a guy come out and install the little scrapers that you do your golf cleats with out front of our door just so that we could help a little bit, okay? And these guys were like, "Oh, we'll put bags on our feet." Like, no, get in here. Come on. Let's make a mess. We invited those type of guys, and we want that because guess what? They gave us money. So with that being said, find a way to educate the construction guy, Muddy Feet Welcome. Now, if you don't want your restaurant muddy, don't do it. Because I'm I promise it'll work.
Yeah, you didn't tell them about the part where all of your other customers stopped coming in.
It didn't matter. There was no seats for them anyway, so it was good, you know. So, and it was cool because all the guys would always thank me and my mom. They're like, "Thank y'all," because we don't have a place that we can go and sit down and actually have a good lunch. So thank you, you know. And they do. They feel bad about it. I mean, so they do a lot of drive-throughs and stuff like that. Feeding hospital departments. When you're feeding a hospital, they do not spend their own money. What are they called? Pharmaceutical reps are the ones that buy them food. Now here's the problem. That pharmaceutical rep could live in California and be ordering for the hospital in Charlotte, North Carolina. You do not know where they're coming from. So how do you know and how do you find out? Well, you feed the hospital staff, the important RNs, the important PAs and doctors, give them a free lunch, and in exchange for their pharmaceutical reps' name and number.
Yeah, we had the pharmaceutical reps had an account with us.
Yep.
And then we would just bill them on a monthly basis.
On a 30-day net. And it works. Because they also they have to be invoiced, and then their company writes a check and sends it. But they have money, and they're willing and very proudly to spend it. And they get in trouble if they don't spend enough money on their doctors. So that is how you find out who they are. Handout and samples, let me back up one.
Yeah, let me add to that. The construction sites, the hospital departments, the industrial offices, it's kind of all the same thing. You go in with 10 large pizzas, whether you're in the office or whether you're in the construction site to the workers, or you're going into the ER at a hospital. You go in and you just dump the pizza. Got pizzas for you guys. Here you go. Bunch of gift certificates, or like maybe it's a $5 off coupon, door hangers, box toppers. I'm getting my words mixed up, but you go in with a bunch of pizza and a bunch of marketing materials. And then you just say, here you go. Thanks for what you guys do. Or, hey, I know your workers are working hard. Here you go. You just drop it off and say, free food, And
here's a new thing that I didn't have really long time ago, but I'm wearing it out today, is LinkedIn. I need to know the HR ladies. The HR ladies and gentlemen in this world, if you're going to a big business that has that fancy guy in the front, and he's got the Allied security thing on his shoulder here, and he won't let you go past there because of whatever major reason, what's behind that door, nobody knows. How do you get in front of those type of people? Because they are they're ordering food every single day for their certain teams. So I go to LinkedIn, I look up that business, and I try to find out, and you can Google or search it, who's the HR lady for this? Or you put HR and then that business name. And hopefully in the search it'll show up. If it doesn't, go to that actual, I'll say it, in my town is Continental Tire. It's their main headquarters. So I just type in Continental Tire, go to the website, try to find out the HR person, and then I email them. Because there's never a number. If there is a number, then great. Or I'll call up there and ask for her name specifically. Once I get her on the phone, I want to feed you tomorrow for free. How many is in the HR department? Is there 10, 15? Feed them. Because that's going to give you a leg in the door. Okay, and I'm running out of time. But HR's people will get you into every door. Definitely if it's a big, big business. They have sales departments. They have the mechanic department. I mean, there's all these different departments. And then she'll give you the information to feed the sales team, the marketing team, all the CEOs. It's endless. But you just got to give a couple free lunches on that. A big one for lunchtime is dropping off all the ladies in the school districts, working in the actual district offices for the schools. If that's in your area, drop off a ton of free lunches. Before you know it, then you can start marketing that whole segment of the schools and the kids. Now, this is a huge, huge thing. It's one thing to not have your pizza box branded, but it's another thing not to put some sort of bounce back coupon or bounce back information, menus, something on top of your box at all given times. So when they do come, and you might not have your own branded pizza box, nothing wrong with that. If you have it here at this table, all of a sudden someone in the group's going to be like, oh, where'd this come from? Well, guess what? Here's your menu. They can take it home with them. And you have enough that everybody can take stuff home with them because they obviously live in the same area. All right, I'm gonna kind of speed through this one a little bit. Lightning lunches is my favorite because now I'm targeting the person that only has 30 minutes to eat. So when you know they only have 30 minutes to eat, it takes them 10 minutes from work to drive to you, 10 minutes to get back, that's 20 minutes. They put an order in, and by the way, it took 12 minutes to make a pizza, now they're 2 minutes late, period, ... and they didn't even get to eat the pizza. So think of that, 12 minutes to make a pizza, 10 minutes to get there, 10 minutes to get back. When did they eat? That's why a lot of pizzerias don't have good lunch. There's not enough time to eat. So I set up a real simple call-ahead lunches. Did you know they got apps now that you can pre-order coffee at Starbucks and just walk on in and it's ready for you? Because guess what? Those people are in a hurry too. So same thing. All we're doing is they're picking up the phone, they're calling you ahead of time, and as soon as they walk in, their food's on the table ready to go. And there's systems that you have to put in place to execute it properly. We don't have enough time, that's a whole nother day on that. But if you set up your systems properly, it's so effective that it's ruthless.
There's actually a mistake there. It says embrace call-ahead lunches, master pre-rush prep. Master pre-rush prep should actually be the next thing. Where when we talked about, lunchtime is high pressure. You've got to be fast. And that's one of the reasons why people don't order from pizzerias at lunchtime because they're slow. So things like, we'll talk about, I don't know if it's actually on there as a bullet point, but talk about things like when somebody's placing an order at lunchtime, our guys would be, the person taking the order, putting it in the computer would be there, and then we'd be looking over their shoulder.
That's right.
And seeing exactly what was getting punched in. And then that pizza sometimes was in the oven before the phone even hung up. Now, online ordering is changing that, but that's another opportunity. So every single pizza was an emergency, every order. The pre-rush prep, we'd have pizza slapped out and on a rack, ready to go. Sandwiches, Italian, you're making an Italian sandwich. You're laying down salami, you're laying down ham, you're laying down pepperoni. It takes a couple minutes. All right, we would do that in advance. We'd lay it on a piece of wax paper. We'd have a sandwich all prepared on a piece of wax paper. We'd put another piece of wax paper down. We'd have them all stacked up like that. So when somebody ordered an Italian sub, we pulled the bread out, we slapped it on there, and boom, it was in the oven in like 20 seconds. So everything has to be in that oven fast because the excuse of, well, it's better quality, we're independent, it just takes time, you got to wait on it. Nobody cares. They want to eat. That's why McDonald's has got cars wrapped around the building. Who do you think wants to eat at McDonald's? I don't want to eat at McDonald's. I don't know anybody that wants to eat at McDonald's. But they all eat at McDonald's because McDonald's is fast. And Chick-fil-A, they're fast. I like Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A is good and they're fast. But so that needs to be you. You need to be the Chick-fil-A of pizza. So at lunchtime, that you're going to size pizza. You're going to be in and out. It's fast. It's coming. It's going to be there 10 minutes more faster than you said it was going to be there.
That's right.
So speed. And along with that, mastering the pre-rush prep. And then the call-ahead seating. Is that up there? Call-ahead seating, casual seating?
Yeah, so for full-service restaurants, you can start to save your seats so that they can have a reserved table as well when they get in. So
they call their order in. My one place was, it was 125 seats. We had servers. So people were like, man, I only got 30 minutes. Or sometimes they're like, I only got an hour for lunch. And by the time I get sat and by the time it takes to make pizza, blah, 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 I can't get back to work in time even with an hour lunch. So what we would do, we would allow them to call ahead. Now the servers got upset because these people just want to come in, grab a pizza, sit down, eat it, and go, and there's no tipping. So we had a small bar, and at lunchtime we didn't have a bartender. We didn't serve hardly any alcohol at lunchtime. We reserved the bar for what we called our casual, I can't remember the name of it. It was our casual call-ahead dine-in of some kind of a name we had, where they would call it in and say, I want a large pepperoni pizza, and I want to sit in and eat it. So they would call in, they would be ready at the time they wanted, they'd walk in, they'd pay for it at the counter, they'd take it into the bar, sit down and eat it, and then they would leave. So we catered to those people because a lot of times they were like, and then the people that were dining, sometimes at lunchtime, the entire restaurant would be full, and we had no seating for those people, so we reserved a spot for it.
Right. And This next one, guys, you're going to laugh about it maybe, and maybe somebody has it in here. Don't play out the buffet. The buffet, depending on your town and when you execute and figure out what you do here, buffet was a big moneymaker for me. Now, I did it right. I had to figure out consumption rates. Okay, that's the ticket is, yes, you're going to have one guy come in there and just try to eat you out of house, but the 89%ers don't eat you out of house and can't eat enough anyways. So how do you determine that? So that's you got to figure out your break even and all that in there. But buffets are phenomenal and can make a ton of money because you're turning a lot of heads at one time.
Just jump to the slices.
Yeah.
Go right to slices.
So I want to jump in. So then you got buffet and then you got slices. Now here's the cool thing with slice. If you have a very tight storefront or very tight footprint, slices are the easiest thing to do. And you can do a lot of volume through slices. A lot of people said, well, slices don't make money. Well, I got a guy doing one Roman style, and he's doing $85 for, I think it cost him $9 to make. But by the time it's all gone, 15 slices later, he's got $85 wrapped up in the register. So yes, you can make money on slices. Do you have to do high volume to make money on slices? Absolutely not. So it's good for both ways. And it's okay to serve slices just during your peak hours, 11 to 2. 11 to 3, whatever your time frames are that are high volume, only serve it during that time. And a simple slice display on the counter. It doesn't have to be all crazy fancy. I always wanted to be the one that goes in and spend $1,200 on a display. Don't have to do it. You can do something very simple like this. You don't even have to have a display. I want to back up a sec. You don't even have to have a display. One of the restaurants that we know does a lot of volume and they built their business around this, doesn't even have a display. They keep it behind the counter and closed. And so you can kind of see here, Mike Bausch's restaurant, Andolini's, he does any 2 slices with a drink included under $10, and that is tax included.
But he doesn't have any of his slices on display when you walk in.
You don't see anything.
But his marketing for his slices is just crazy. It's over the top. He wants to make sure you know he has slices. The slices are all kept in the back of the house. You don't even know he's got them, but his marketing, he's relentlessly marketing his slices. So people come in, they get a slice. Even though you can't see his slices anywhere. And that's the way I did it at my place. We didn't have any slice display, but we advertised it like crazy. We just had one of those metal racks, and we had all of our sliced pizzas sitting on it in the kitchen. Somebody got a slice, we threw it in the oven, and we took it out to them. It was simple. Yeah. But we marketed it. You have to market it like crazy because it's not in front of them, and you don't have that high foot traffic. So right. You don't have people walking by and you can't see that display. So and
keep them fresh. And yes, you're going to reheat them as well, but don't have a pie that's been sitting there from 2 days ago. Okay, that's just not going to work. Period. ... If you know your quality, and everybody's is going to be a little different depending on how you make it, but if you know your quality goes down in, let's just say 3 hours, and you need a fresh pie, well, guess what? You need to go market with those slices that are about to go bad, reheat them, and get them out in people's hands that have not tried your pizza. It's just a way to, and then you're not, throwing food away. And keep it simple. Now, let's go into the world of catering. You want to, I'll jump into this one. This is, I love, once we got to a certain level, you can hire a catering manager and you can give them 3 to 5% of the sales they bring in plus a salary. So there's a lot of options there for you. But you need to do both simple and complex catering packages. Keep it, can you elaborate on that one?
Yeah, so when it comes to catering, and let me see the notes here. Yeah. We did a lot of what we called carry-out catering, drop and go catering, and we did full service. We didn't do, actually, I take that back. We didn't do the full service catering. Yeah. So we did, we did lasagna by the tray. We did salads by the tray. And so you come in and you want to cater for your lunch party. You just come in, you place the order. We have a tray of it. You come pick it up. We give you we give you all the equipment you need, the stands. We give you the fuel, the plastic tongs, everything you need. We called it carry-out catering. We were catering your event, but you came and carried it out. We kept really simple. When we did the drop, set, and go, where we would come, we would set it down, and then we would set it all up, light the fuel, and then we leave. We dropped it off, we set it up, and we left. We didn't do the full service catering, and I'd like to stay away from that whenever possible.
Always try to.
But we kept it simple. Like we really did packages that were like, do you want to feed? I mean, our marketing material was so simple. Feed 20 people, $75, 5 pizzas, 5 orders of garlic knots, and drinks. And flip it around. Feed more people. Do this, and this. So we really pushed the real simplicity because you got people with a budget. And they're like, oh, I just need to feed 50 people. Here's a great package. Let's get it. And then boom, you're sending your lunch to their office the next day. We just kept it simple with the catering.
For sure.
You don't have to overthink it and have this big, huge, elaborate menu. Because some of the boss telling the secretary, get lunch in here tomorrow. And she's already got, or she or he has got a million things to do. And they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go through this big, giant catering menu. And I don't want to get Taco Bell. So they're just like, oh, size pizza. Look at these 2 packages they got. It's super simple, and they get it.
And it's not up here, but we're going to talk about mobile and food truck catering. But here's another one. If you don't want to go invest in a mobile unit, can you invest in an easy up tent with your logo, a nice table like this with a nice cover on it, and go set it up inside of someone's business, and we call them lunch stands, and then you send 10 pizzas over and you start selling by the slices or with salads, drinks. You're going to the business because the businesses now don't want you to leave, period. So how do you get a lunch stand set up? Now, when I said I can get $10,000 very easily, go set up 2 lunch stands every day, 5 days a week, and you'll easily clear $500 to $600 a day per stand. Easy, no problem. And we're targeting businesses with 200 plus employees. We're not targeting 50 employees. We're targeting 200 plus to do lunch stands. That is a huge, huge money maker. That's what I'm doing with my mobile industry. And it's 11 to 2. You set up, you have 2 people, one doing the money and one doing the food. And it's very easy. And you replenish the pies every 30 minutes. Someone's bringing you fresh pizzas, depending on the times that people come in. Then obviously you got the food truck mobile that you can jump into as well.
All right. So we'll wrap it up with the last thing here, which is actually just really simple. One of the number 1 requests that I got was a private room for businesses to come have a lunch meeting in. And I didn't have any space, and looking back, I wish I would have installed something. Just a private space for meetings, simple food and drink packages, allow them to place their orders in advance so when they show up, you've got everything they need. Make sure you've got computer hookups, VGA, HDMI, and audios, just like this, so they can have their meetings and that like that. And we had the banks, the attorneys, everybody that had clients to entertain wanted to come have lunch at our place, but we didn't have a spot for them. Wish we could have installed that. If we would have made a lot more money at lunch. We've had a private place for them. So that's pretty much it. I know we kind of breezed through the end of it there, but thank you all for listening. Thanks for coming and sitting in. Appreciate it.
Hit the next slide.
If you have questions, stick around and ask them. We're going to stay here for a while for questions, but thank you very much. And
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you there.
Thank you.